pure cinema, at the end, they make out. Again, sorry, ladies and gents, the spoilers, but it made no sense, but it was brilliant because you saved the day, and who doesn't want to make out with someone after?
No, of course, I completely get it.
It's so cheesy 80s, 90s vibe, and I loved every second of the narrative of this because it was just so...
Whoa, Dave!
So, I know, sorry, but when they made out, they didn't even know each other. they just fell in love in an instant because they were there. Oh, it was so
because that's
good.
just what happens in the 80s
Yes,
stories. The hero gets the girl.
Exactly right.
What's her name? Who cares? Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of everyone's favorite podcast, the Critical Arcade Podcast. I'm your co-host, Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Nick. You well?
Yes, I'm well. Thank you. Dave, can you remember what the first video game was that you've ever played?
Yes, but this, again, I'm so much older than you. The first game I ever played was probably like Asteroids on the PC, or Banana Man, which very few people know of, or Squares. Squares was one of the games I used to love years ago.
I don't recognize... I recognize Asteroids. Banana Man?
Banana Man was this... That's like you were one guy at one side of a cityscape, and there's another guy at another side of a cityscape, and you had to angle your throws and your power gauge to throw it and hit the other guy. It was a very just 8-bit type game, but my brother and I were obsessed with it. We used to love that game.
I've never heard of Banana Man.
And Squares was like a Tetris game, but it was like a 2-player competitive Tetris, and you used to get in your shapes, you used to get acid and bubblegum and missiles and stuff you could shoot at your competitor and stuff like that in regards to trying to beat them in their game of Tetris. It was great. But yeah, now we're talking early 90s, I'd say those games were probably coming out with. So yeah, that was some of my favorite. Now you're still a baby, so what was your first game?
I cannot tell you what my first video game was because I do not know. It was probably something in someone's living room when I was... No, you know what it was? It was probably in an arcade somewhere.
There's nothing wrong with it, your arcade game being your first game.
Right.
Why do you ask? Why are we going down memory lane so much?
Because of this week's game. We're going back. We're going way back. I think...
was one. You weren't alive, yeah.
We're going to 1988.
That's right,
which
baby.
is, I think, the earliest game that we've reviewed on this channel thus far. No, wait, Mega Man 2 was, which was also 1988.
Okay, so we haven't had games that are pre-Dave yet. These are all in the Dave.
No, everything's been after Dave. Dave, how about you tell us what did we play this week?
Well, this week's game is a classic, like almost beyond what would be defined as classic. It's the 1988 Nintendo Entertainment System game, Ninja Gaiden. I still get it wrong. I don't know which way it's supposed to say. But the original.
I just call it Ninja Gaiden.
The OG, the purest form of Ryu Hayabusa, whatever the hell his name is, right?
Yeah.
This is just pure nostalgia. Developed by Tecmo, but which back in the day used to just be called Tecmo, which you may know from Dead or Alive, Monster Rancher, another game of my childhood, Gallop Racer, Rygar, Star Force. I love 80s names of games. They're so freaking to the point. Gallop
They really
Racer.
are. They're really good.
That's
They're really
genius.
good.
And then
some
later
of those 80s series that have made it to the modern times, including Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, that's exactly right. They made it through the times. And then Tecmo merged with, I never know how to say it, Koei
Tecmo.
Which you may know now for games like Dynasty Warriors and the Atelier series. And
the Atelier games, hell yeah.
Right? There's 16 or 17 of those that exist in the world because they seem to be just
really?
everywhere on the PlayStation Store. There just seems to be loads of them. It's Atelier this. No? There's got to be at least 6. No,
there's about 40.
No. I mean, that sounds about right. Sorry, I forgot we're talking about Japan.
No, Atelier games have been coming since, I think, the early 90s.
No ways. That's crazy how, again, Koei Tecmo, some of their games just went through just generations. Be it Dynasty Warriors, also a game that's still going. It's still big in Japan.
Yeah.
Pun intended. And big everywhere else. But then Ninja Gaiden 4 just came out. What was it? Was it this year? Last year? Like I say,
it was earlier this year. I'm pretty sure.
Which is crazy that these games keep going. And Ryu has had to fight back the Dark Dragon or what the hell is
Ryo Hayabusa has been fighting it up.
He has. I love the idea that in a Ninja Gaiden now he must be 40. Like Ninja Gaiden 4.
Are you kidding? No, much older. I'm sure.
Must be in his, sorry, that's true. In his 50s. Sorry, right. I didn't math properly there. I love the idea he's still going.
I think in a world like Ninja Gaiden, it doesn't matter. I think the older you get, the stronger you get in these types of stories.
Especially you just add like magic or mysterious factors to the mix. You can just live forever and get stronger and stronger.
Yeah. If there's a big duel and an old guy with a beard and a hunchback walks up, I'm running in the opposite direction. Right.
It's the old guy you need to be careful of.
Absolutely.
Okay. Should we jump into the narrative? Because
let's do it.
Oh god, 80s games narratives are so good and bad at the same time. It's amazing.
It's good. I think what my favorite part about these types of narratives is just how simple they are.
Oh yes, simple would be putting it kind of lightly by all accounts. But the basic story: you follow Ryu Hayabusa, a young ninja set out to avenge his father after witnessing an apparent duel to the death. Then later on, you find out that there's these two statues, and if they're combined together, it will unleash great evil onto the world, and you must kind of stop them from getting together, and you must stop Jackie O, which I found out that's how you're supposed to say it, Jackie O, kind of like.
Is that how you're supposed to say it? Because I had no idea. Jackie O.
Yeah, I know because when it's translated, it's translated to like Jacquo in the English translation, so I had to look that up because it means King of Devils, which kind of makes sense.
Whoa,
in the narrative
okay.
Of this. But let me just point this: the narrative, the dragon sword, all the things you know in like Ninja Gaiden games, they're all there. But the 80s cheese in this game is amazing. I loved every single goddamn second of it. Because it makes no sense, and it's great. Well,
it is.
Spoilers.
It really is.
Spoilers. I think. Oh, I love it. I love it. You get shot by a businesswoman. She takes you down after killing 200 things. You go look for an archaeologist called Mr. Smith. I looked this up, by the way. The most common surname in America in 1980s to my 1990s was Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
But he finds
not surprised. Not surprised. And what happens after that? What happens after you... What happens then? You get caught and interrogated by the CIA.
Right. Who subtly kind of tell you if you don't help them, they're going to kill you. Oh,
yeah.
And I love, they don't even like, when you get told where the bad guys are, they just call it some old Amazon ruins. They don't even give you like an area. It's just like, where is it? Oh, it's in some old Amazon ruins. Oh, I know exactly where that is.
Okay,
it's so good. It
is. We dunk on this, but it's out of pure affection, really. I don't have nearly as much experience with NES games as you do, but I was genuinely surprised by how much narrative this game actually has
it does.
compared to what I remember NES games to have.
Yeah, by all accounts, the NES game, the size of the file of this game is 136 kilobytes. Just so you know, it's 136 kilobytes. There are photos on your phone that are like 10 times the size of this game, by all accounts. Yeah. But there's so much. It was so good at every moment because for some reason later on, even though the woman shot you when they threatened to stab her, you're like, oh no, I can't do that. I don't know who she is, and she tried to kill me, but I can't let them kill her. And then, pure cinema, at the end, they make out. Again, sorry, ladies and gents, the spoilers, but it made no sense, but it was brilliant because you saved the day, and who doesn't want to make out with someone after?
No, of course.
It's so cheesy 80s, 90s vibe, and I loved every second of the narrative of this because it was just so
Whoa,
was just
Dave.
so like I know. Sorry,
Jeez.
but when they made out, they didn't even know each other. they just fell in love in an instant because they were there. Oh, it was so
Because that's
good.
just what happens in the 80s stories. The
Yes,
hero
it does.
gets the
No,
girl.
exactly
What's her
right.
name? Who cares?
Exactly. No, it was pure cinema. Every single little subtle cutscene between each levels. It was so bizarre and balmy and just it was great. I playing this game, I expected not to like it because it's an old NES game. They're short. We've got all the games we've got now with Saros and all the other
you
stories.
being the story-centric player between the two of us, that's what you're after.
Yes, I was expecting to be, okay, this is just I want to grind through the levels and get to the end. But the story was just 80s cheese, nostalgia goggles, just bliss from my side. Because I was from that era by all accounts. What did you think narratively? Granted, you've not played many NES games, if any, right?
No, I've played a couple. I've played some, but I'm not surprised. Not as many, I think. I do have to say, though, playing Ninja Gaiden actually made me curious about what was happening. And for a NES game to do that, it must be doing a lot of stuff.
Super hard to actually get you involved narratively in a small format game, by all accounts, isn't it? Because
I think what does most of the heavy lifting... and I'll get into this more in the visuals, would be the cutscenes.
Yes, of course. Again,
you having played the game this week, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And a lot of people who had this stuck with them, the cutscenes for Ninja Gaiden, these first couple of ones on the NES, I don't think I've ever seen cutscenes like this on any other NES game.
No, it was revolutionary. They got award. I was reading the development. They didn't even know it was revolutionary at the time when they were doing it. It was only after they released the game and people were like, "Wow!" Like the close eyes, like comic book anime format of telling stories and moving. It was literally something no one else had done, and people were going mad over it, and rightfully so. It's 80s, but it's such a more fun way of telling a story in regards to
it really is
close. There's
this term that I found this week on the internet called Tecmo Theater.
Okay, yeah.
Which I've only heard used because of the cutscenes in these Ninja Gaiden games.
Of course, yeah.
But when no other games were doing this, Tecmo did it.
Yeah.
Creating the Tecmo Theater. When these cutscenes on the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, you've got cinematic framing. A ninja running. You only see his legs, snatching a statue, leaping into the window. You can see this happening. You've got dramatic pauses. Ryu Hayabusa closes his eyes before he answers. You've got close-ups. You've got framing. The lighting changes when the CIA intimidates Ryu. You know what happens?
Yes, when the lights switch off and it looks all...
The lights switch off.
Intimidate.
The lights switch off. This is a NES game. This is a NES game. And the lighting changed in a cutscene.
But do you know who uses this same technique today in every single one of his movies? Out of curiosity. Like the same.
Christopher Nolan.
No, I'm sure he does it.
Martin Scorsese.
Nice, I give you're knocking out some good directors. You gotta think more foot fetishist.
Oh, really? The
Go
Tarantino?
Watch his movies. Tarantino, close eyes, transitions, goes to feet movement in regards to changing of scenes and stuff like that. He does it in a ton of his movies because he's kind of a product of the era too. He does the same things because it's such a cool way of telling a story. It's still used in cinema and stuff today.
He'd have a ball with Ninja Gaiden. There are some cutscenes where it's just feet running.
That's very true. I love those bits. I love those little bits. It's like little mannequins, like just running back and forwards, but you're still kind of on the edge of your seat going, what's going on? What's going on above
and
the
it's
waist?
A single soundbite.
Yes. Oh, those bits are cool. It's got that.
Great. It's great. You think Quentin Tarantino played Ninja Gaiden?
I think he's got to be a product of the time. He must have been playing video games, right?
Because it could closely resemble Kill Bill.
Yes, Kill Bill is one that uses it a lot. They do the feet movement, the eye close-ups, the that's right. No, it is very Kill Bill-esque. Also,
great.
This is the first time in a game I've actually given it an extra credit in visuals just because of the box art. The box art. I don't know if you saw it. The box art of this game, again, is such 80s nostalgia. I had to
Isn't it just Ryu Hayabusa kneeling?
No, it's Ryu Hayabusa in a cool painted picture looking all dynamic. Background is the cityscape of like New York or something, and then just fire. Just flames.
Whoa.
Just lots and lots of flames for no reason, because it's he's a ninja
Because
and the world is
cool,
chaos
that's
right
why.
now. Oh, it's so good. It's such a cool 80s.
Oh, I'm looking at it now.
It screams like pick me up. I love that type of artwork.
This is cool. This is great. Yes, no, absolutely. This is some good box art.
On a very
Why
weird
won't we
side.
doing this anymore?
I know, right? That's what bugs me about box art, because box art is the same art used on CDs, and it's the same art used on steelbooks most of the time. Steelbooks sometimes mix. It's so boring to use the same. So much. There's a weird pet peeve. They keep just using the same art in every bit of marketing material. It always kind of annoys me. This is so much cooler.
It is.
But anyway, another thing I love about this game, I love, again, this is a NES thing. You've got to love every stage, and then every stage you have different bad guys. It plays a lot like like Double Dragon, Mario, Castlevania type thing. So you have there's the screens full of bad guys, and I just love the generic bad guys. There's every single level, or almost every level, had what looked like dogs running across the bottom of the screen, but they looked human, and I still do not know what those were.
What do you mean? Those
The
dogs,
first level has them.
Aren't they leopards or cheetahs?
I don't know. Later on, it's definitely cheetahs. The first level, the first cityscape of like New York or wherever you are, you've got these quadrupedal things like coming after you. I don't know.
They're just running. They're just scaring you.
They
just
look
bite
like
your
humans,
ankles.
and I love later on you just get NFL players for some reason. Just like everyone is after you for some reason. NFL birds.
Because, what are you talking? Yeah, because you're a ninja. Of course.
There's even these big, like, weird dystopian, like Mr. Potato Head things on some of the like. But none of this is explained. This is just New York in 1988. This is
how it is.
Oh, and ninjas with jetpacks.
Right. This is the route our parents used to take to school.
Yes. This is what life was like back then. It was just a freaking jungle of just madness. I loved it. It made no sense, but it was great every moment.
That's great.
Just
That's
thinking,
good.
why
No,
the
I
hell
like
is this
it.
on the screen
Because
right now?
this is a video game. Damn it.
But everything playing these games, I later put this down in gameplay and stuff. It very much reminds me of when you're kids and with your friends and you do imaginary play outside in the garden, right? You're like, oh, and now you're attacked, and it's like, by what? Ninjas with jetpacks throwing stars, and yes. It has all those, and then all of a sudden an NFL guy, and then all of a sudden a cheetah and an eagle. It's so
a cheetah, but it could also be an 8-year-old.
That's true, but it's so almost kid-like in everything, like every aspect of the pains that you play, which only makes it more kind of endearing, especially I guess
and it could
as we get
also
older.
be why it became so successful, because a lot of gamers back then were predominantly kids who have grown up to be 30, 40, 50-year-olds, but back then these kids were kids.
Yeah, and all you had to sell them was you're a ninja, and those guys are after you, and you're just better than them. You're just
and you're on top of the city, and it's on fire.
Yes, and for some reason you're now in the jungle, and then the next reason you're in a haunted castle, because why not?
Yeah,
I love these
watch
things.
out, this 8-year-old's gonna bite your ankles.
That's right, and eventually it was just a lot of fun, and like you said, with NES games, I don't even remember them being this pretty. Like, there was actually shadow, there was light, there was little squares of like lightning and stuff happening in some scenes. On that note, I do have to give a big warning to people who do want to try and play this game. There should be an episode kind of warning to it, because some of the flashing white lights in some of the is kind of like, whoa, what's going on? This is a lot of strobe effect.
If you die on your last life, the screen just flashes white and black.
Yeah, you kind of need to look away for a second.
That's just
old school
for
camera,
someone that has
photos.
epilepsy. That's just an attack waiting to happen.
It's crazy. It's crazy how you and I don't suffer from any of those types of things, but it does make you. I look aside, it's like you get a flash in your eyes from old cameras and stuff, where it's burned into your retinas for a second. Which is, again, it's a period. It's a thing set in its time, so this wasn't a big thing back in the day, so it wasn't.
It is.
Much of a warned.
Besides that, though, again, these cutscenes.
Yeah.
Dang.
They are
It's
so
really
good.
with the amount of mileage they get from you can definitely see that they sometimes do reuse some
Yes.
type of cutscenes, because
Yes,
it would
they
be
do.
the same pose Ryu's doing,
Yes.
but it's in a room now, and later
Yeah.
it's in a forest or jungle.
And his eyes were sometimes, they had like set eyes for questioning, and then intimidated, and then scared, and then angry, which just changed the setting
cool.
within the eye. But it was, again, it was revolutionary. It wasn't
Yeah.
done. This was
Yeah, if you're playing this on your home console in 1988,
so good. Yeah, so good. You had your friends around. You were talking about it in the playground. It was just talked about this game, because it was so revolutionary. It actually had short stories released in Nintendo Magazine, because this was a new way of telling stories, and so many people got so engrossed in the storytelling that they started making side stories and like little stories in regards to going on about it.
Great fan fiction.
Yeah, exactly. And you've engaged an audience when that type of stuff starts coming into play, right?
Oh, that's great.
No, at least nostalgia goggles are fully on. But yeah, I love the visuals.
I don't care. Yeah, if anyone's listening to this, join us in putting on your nostalgia goggles.
About to say, like I say, Nick might have a bit more of like a perspective look on this, because I'm in deep. I'm in deep in nostalgia. The nostalgia.
I'm along for the ride. You're driving, but I'm in the passenger seat. It's great.
Okay, if anything, what did Audio Man think of audio of this game? Because again, we're talking 136 kilobytes of data here.
I was listening to the soundtrack, and it's definitely 8-bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say the soundtrack is good, but probably the category I connected with the least overall. I had a great time with the narrative, an excellent time with the visuals. My favorite, probably the gameplay. Audio, not so much.
I'm so sad.
I know,
because I wrote down the audio. The soundtrack was amazing. Okay, I'm not talking amazing. Get me wrong. This isn't
Please don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's right. This isn't like Elden Ring levels of music.
It's good. It's good. I'd sometimes listen to 8-bit music when I was studying in high school.
Yeah, 8-bit girl. And
so I can appreciate what the soundtrack is doing, but I think it might be because I keep comparing it to some iconic tracks in like Street Fighter 2.
Of course, yeah, some classics. Love them.
Which I should not be doing. I know.
No, it's one of the hardest things when you've got such a bowl of different games to play and stuff like that. It's very hard not to compare them to one another.
Yeah.
And again, this is all the stuff. The 8-bit just techno synthesizer type soundtrack that played with this, which didn't match it because you're a ninja in a castle. But it just went so. That's right. I'm shooting babies and aliens and stuff whilst hitting pure synthesized sound whilst doing it.
There's actually the soundtrack was composed by Keiji Yamagishi.
Okay.
Who they actually re-invited to help with the remaster in 2017.
Hell yeah, you got to.
One of the more interesting aspects for the sampled drum sounds he used was to give the game a more energetic rock feel compared to many other NES games at the time. They wanted to have the music constantly pushing the player forward to match the fast-paced gameplay. Every single aspect, including the audio of this game, was to push the player to play faster and more aggressively. I think that is some next level excellent game design that did not exist in 1988.
No. They were pushing the envelope, these fellas. No, I think that makes sense. A lot of it is very high octane type edge of your seat stuff. Granted, it's an 8-bit, so it's hard to really to translate that across in the game stream. Yeah. I thought it was great. The only thing I must admit, and this is because I'm old, all the sound effects in like NES games, I don't know how, but they all came from the same stock folder, because fire always sounds the same. like climbing and jumping. Or it's like, it reminded me, the sound effects are almost identical to Golden Axe. I think you played Golden Axe, right? Which I granted is a new era. I have
played Golden Axe.
All the sound effects, while nostalgic, are all identical to one another, be it Mega Man, Castlevania. That's always the same jumping noise and always the same falling noise, which, again, when you've got such a cool background music, I'd like a little bit, even the, when you defeat a boss, the that thing, it's in so many NES games, which hits a nostalgia part of me, deep down in my bones, but it was the one part I thought got a little boring in the end. I kind of liked the music so much more than the sound itself, the effects and stuff like that.
No, the soundtrack is definitely good, but I don't think sound effects at this stage... Yeah, I didn't really
translate that too well, yeah.
At this stage, I do not think sound effects were like anywhere near a priority. But it was a technical limitation. It was a technical limitation at the time.
100%. Like I said, I don't even know how they fit it all in. Maybe that pack with
all of these different sounds was all they had. I don't know how to make a game 8-bit.
I think that's very true. I think it's possibly literally the limitations of the technology they had there. And like I say, you always think back in the day, it may have been 8-bit, but they all saw the scenes in like 3D. And in, it's not like they were like, oh, I'm going to have this big scene and it'll be the sunlit and stuff like that. And then I get told, yeah, but it's 8-bit, so it will be orange. And you're like, oh, okay, we'll do that then. We'll work with it. We'll go with orange, which, like I said, it must be kind of an interesting playground to kind of have to deal with and I think so too. Work around.
It was very much the Wild West of game making.
Oh, hell yes. Yes.
No rules. So. Yeah. Everyone was kind of figuring it out with each other.
That's exactly what it was like. It was very hit and miss, and you're all trying to swim in the same pool. Which is such a cool era of gaming.
That's definitely not the case anymore.
No. Okay, anything else audio-wise, or should we go into gameplay? Probably the...
Okay, gameplay.
Yes.
I'd say that this is the category that impressed me the most.
Okay.
I did not think that I was going to say that about a NES game before playing this.
Agreed. Like I said, ladies and gents, the old NES controller had a directional pad and then an A and a B. That was as far as our buttons and right angles on the controller.
Two buttons.
2 buttons. That's how technical we were back in the day. But those 2 buttons worked, damn you. They worked well. But yeah, you were saying.
I would say that the Ninja Gaiden feels shockingly tight, fast, responsive, and precise. For a NES game.
The precise you need in this game is kind of hair thin sometimes.
Hair thin precision.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
That's what you need.
And I agree. This game, again, it was lauded in the 80s for how good the gameplay was. And this game was hard. NES games were hard in general.
Oh, yeah.
This game was, even in the era of hard games, this was known as the Dark Souls. This was the Elden Ring. This was the Bloodborne. This was the incredibly hard game. But
I played this and I tried to find that difficulty and I couldn't find it in the earlier acts.
Yes, it kind of lets you, it slowly pulls you in every once in a while.
I tried to do some research as to where the difficulty for this game kicks in. And while this does have that, you're right, that general NES difficulty that most games that time did have because game designers didn't know how to balance anything yet. The difficulty comes in the final act, Act 6.
Jeez, the final act is insanely hard.
Full disclaimer, I never got there. This week, while playing this game, I never got to Act 6. So I'm relying on your testimony. And
Act 6 was insane because they actually had 2 boss fights back to back. One boss fight, then a second boss fight. And the second boss fight had mechanics to the boss fight. It wasn't just hit it. You had to dodge the head, destroy the tail, and then attack the core, which none of the other games had. Of course, doing this whilst practically dodging every attack because like 2 or 3 hits will kill you. The last fight was very tough. Holy crap.
Dang.
And that came out of nowhere.
Jackie O.
Yes, that was Jackie O, I believe. It was Jackie O, the first boss fight, and then the last boss fight was the Dark Dragon, the jars combined to form a big, very, very Alien-esque type of like Aliens the movie type bad guy, in my opinion. But that was kind of also the era. But
That-
it was also interesting.
and
Go on.
what makes the difficulty just the most generationally punishing was that if you died to either Jackie O or a big alien demon,
that's right,
you needed to start over the entire act.
Yeah, that's right. No proper like save states in this. This was old school. Like when you lost a life or you went down, you were stressing out. Now, granted, there are newer versions that lets you do save states, and I would very much say use those. Hell, you can play this game in a browser, by the way. You can just go to one of those browser websites and you play this game fairly easily. But this game is so incredible. It's difficult for a reason. The developers, there was an interview of one of the developers of this game that suggested that the philosophy in that regards, that if the game wasn't hard enough, people would throw it away. If the game wasn't tough, people weren't drawn in enough to finish it, which they wanted their game to be that challenge, which Castlevania did quite well, and Double Dragon was relatively difficult, but the Ninja Gaiden series upped an ante because they didn't want their game to go to the bargain bin. They wanted their game to be talked about longer than others.
I mean, I'd say that their plan worked. If it wasn't for that ideology, this game wouldn't have turned into a successful trilogy, spawning a large franchise that generated a big hit.
Almost 40 million.
Or last year.
Not 40 million. Almost 40 years later, it's still going. And the original Ninja Gaiden, this game, has sold 7 million units as of 2006. Now, that does include remasters and stuff like that.
Nice. And, absolutely nice.
Which is crazy for this game.
I got some other notes here that I think played into what made this game a bit more difficult. Not necessarily just that death sending you back to the start of Act 6, which was super punishing, but there's also enemy placement.
Yeah, no doubt. Some of it was complex.
Sometimes you'd have to jump over a big chasm and get knocked back by an eagle.
Oh, geez. Like I said, it was so hair thin, the moves you had to do sometimes just to get by. True, I agreed.
That knockback is just...
Oh, it's like...
I can't... You get poked and you fly back 10 feet.
Yes, you do. Your knockback animation is pretty damn far. And if there's a hole underneath you, it says 2 times the distress.
It also does that extremely annoying thing where if an enemy spawns and you kill it and you walk back 2 feet, and you walk 2 feet in front again, that enemy just respawns.
That's right. This isn't it again. These games are hard. NES games were hard. Also, did you see the thing they took inspiration from Mario from?
No.
It's timed stages.
Oh.
Remember, Mario always used to go. This has the same thing. If you do not complete the levels in, I think it was about 3 or 4 minutes. I think 4 or 5 minutes. I can't remember, but it will game over you.
Okay.
So not only do you have to be really tight and precise with your controls, not get hit and fall down holes all the time, you had to complete the levels in a short period of time.
I didn't even notice.
Did you not?
No, it feels slightly counterintuitive because every single facet of the game design of Ninja Gaiden is pushing me forward to be faster and more aggressive.
100%, yeah.
Why would they even introduce an element?
Because it needs to be harder.
For if I play slow.
It needs to be harder. Ninjas don't go slow, they're ninjas.
It needs to be harder. So
exactly.
Okay, all right.
Also, I always play NES games, and you think how old they are. You think, oh god, I didn't even think of that. They had the forwards and background jumping mechanic in regards to the depth of the screen, which I'm always fairly shocked about in regards to jumping on other tracks or up on the it's cool to give some depth of view sometimes, because normally it's just that 2D left and right scape that you get to jump up and down. And wall climbing. I can't remember the last game I played which actually had like the actual wall climbing in it, as in like the wall hold and stuff like that. I didn't know that was a NES thing. Granted, maybe
same.
Enough Castlevania in my time.
I know a staple of the Ninja Gaiden games is wall jumping.
Yes, 100. Yeah, that's right. They kind
just
of also,
jumping from wall to wall to get up a big
That's right.
chimney or whatever. I didn't know that it started from the very first game.
Because it's kind of a signature of their series now. Because
it is.
It's 4, you got all the over elaborate wall jumping, don't you? Backflips and flips and flippy flips until the top. It is kind of one of their signature things now, which is so cool to see the history of a game from 1988 to now, and you can kind of see the evolution of the techniques and the gameplay and stuff like that. Oh, it's so cool going back. Again,
actually, wall jumping in this game feels different, knowing what it's become and the impact it's had.
Yes, exactly. That type of thing, that type of nostalgia, that little time pod, and being able to go back to it. Again, being older gamers like ourselves. And I'm sure there's lots of people out there that will eventually do it to games they've played now, like Minecraft and stuff, go back and then kind of nostalgically go, wow, this is actually fantastic. No, it's good. The gameplay is hard. Just don't think you're going to pick up a NES game, really, any NES game, and it's not going to be.
It's not looked down upon. It's like it's demanding your attention.
Yes, it's very true.
And people respect this game.
This is one of those games you cannot put YouTube on in the background. You cannot put your favorite, or you can put your favorite podcast, Critical Arcade, on in the background. Yeah. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, this needs your attention.
This game feels like an old sensei who's very harsh on you.
Yes.
But by the end of the season, you've become the ultimate, I don't know, karate kid. And then you just give that big old bow to the sensei.
That's
and the sensei gives a nod to you, and everyone cries. And I forgot where I was going with this.
That's fine. And then you play Ninja Gaiden 2 because there's a new sensei.
Yeah.
No, agree. There is an achievement to completing NES games. Like even whilst like Elden Ring and telling people you beat Dark Souls and stuff like that. Yeah. Beating like a NES game has that, for that older generation of kids like us, has that same kind of pedigree to it. Like, yeah, you beat a NES game. Holy crap. And I promised you, kids, anyone who's listening to this and thinking it's absolute nonsense of crap I'm talking, try playing it and then come back to me, because these are not easy games. Anything else gameplay-wise? Or do you want to go to
performance? No, we can move on to performance, which is a weird one for a NES game.
It is. Like 136 kilobytes in size, can run probably on your fridge or on your smart watch and stuff like that.
Obviously, I didn't have any performance issues, but I do think that with performance in this case, there are some other things we can talk about.
Oh, go on.
Like how this game is constructed.
Okay, you've got me intrigued. What, are we talking positively or negatively?
No, we're talking positively.
Okay.
Like how I'm impressed with. We talked about this in gameplay, but how responsive the controls are.
Yes.
I can also say that I think that belongs in performance. How responsive these controls are made to feel while playing Ninja Gaiden on the NES. That's only been happening for a couple of years at that point.
Yes, no, agreed. It was still kind of fresh.
Right?
But
if you make a game now that feels fun and responsive and quick, good, great. There's been tools that have been iterated and honed to help you do that. Back then, how are you supposed to know what to do to make controls feel this precise?
Well, isn't it crazy that now that, like you said, we can pick up this game and the old controller layout and stuff like that, how they've nailed it, but today's game we have so many problems with like input lag and wrong button configuration. I know it's more complex now, but back then this was complex. This was, they had to configure it and time the button pushes and the frames and everything in regards to what they're doing. It had to have the same level of complexity due to the hardware limitations they had. But you're right, it is very clean. Everything about the game controller wise feels clean. Now, granted, the old controllers were horrible. Have you ever used a NES controller? I'm guessing you haven't. Like, ever had one?
I have. I can't remember, but
it used to actually
the rectangle
used to actually hurt. If you played for a long time, those right angles. I'm thinking about the
SNES controller.
Oh yes, a lot nicer controller by all accounts. They actually did curves on that. The NES one was just a nice rectangular block.
Love curves.
But yeah, I agree. That performance-wise, it is impressive to be able to do such things and to feel it when playing it in regards to the performance of the game itself. Anything else?
That to have this game play at the pace that they wanted it to play, they used fewer and fewer animation frames.
Okay, that kind of
so
makes sense.
his running animation is just 4 frames that loop continuously
I
to
can see
maintain
that.
the speed and responsiveness of this game.
Yeah, and the attack frames and everything like that are all the identical attack animation, right? Which again makes sense. Again, you're limited by the
but game
speed.
design wasn't a thing back then.
No.
How did they know that to make this thing, they can't just make it like an NES game, but to make it like a Ninja Gaiden game?
It's because they had a love of the craft. Like that we're only getting
that could be it, yeah.
So it is. It's because they love what they're doing. They enjoyed the challenge of it. But yeah, no.
But there's still sprite flickering, right? If there's like 5 enemies on screen, things that slow down.
Yes, agreed. Granted, I can't remember this.
But that's a technical limitation. That's a classic NES bug.
Yeah, no doubts. Anything else, or should we go value for money?
Value for money.
Value for money is a complicated one. Because nostalgia goggles wise, massive, great, one of the greatest
hell
NES
yeah,
games you could
good,
play.
do it, buy it.
And if you want to physical copy wise, they're everywhere. This was a very popular game. This is not a hard game to get hands of right now. It's like $8 for a NES copy cartridge if you want it.
Yeah, but it wasn't $8 back then.
Oh no, it was a good pricey, like $20 to $30, which is like the $80 we pay now.
What? I read online that it launched at $50.
There's no way. Seriously.
$50? I don't know. My sources might be wrong.
What? God, I can't even remember.
I might be wrong. Actually, I'd love to be wrong because $50 in 1988.
It's a crazy amount of money. I remember my NES was like 80. Like that would have been just a bit smaller, like cheaper than the console.
Yeah.
Granted, it's a different era of times. If it was that popular, I can kind of see the narrative. I kind of can. Like, this was like Castlevania games and had a big run in, and this was a Castlevania-like, so I can see maybe you're right.
I also found online that a lot of people are arguing that the difficulty, the infamous difficulty of the Ninja Gaiden was the value.
Oh, yes. There are, I can say, in that era, games were slightly popping off, and it was a luxury, and it was a luxury item back then. A lot of people couldn't afford consoles and games that go along with them. So I can see it. Granted, I was in Europe, so I don't know if we had that much of the big hit, the big wave of gaming being so expensive. Maybe I just can't remember it. I was 1. But I can't remember it being that expensive, but you could be right. The only other problem with these games, this is a NES game due to its size. Like, you will die a lot, so you will get a good few hours out of it. But as a straight...
You could get, if you're... Ninja Gaiden is brutal, Dave.
Yes.
I think you could get weeks, months even.
If you have save states, though, it's about an hour. I wouldn't say that's how you play it.
When did people get save states? When was save states introduced?
Oh, that had to be...
That's an emulator thing.
It's an interesting thing. You say that. It's an emulator thing. I swear there were consoles that had save states.
I would not be surprised. Is that like a Game Genie thing?
Yeah, right. I had the Game Genie back. Yes, the Game Genie.
You did?
Oh yeah, I had the Game Genie. Hell yeah! Freaking, that thing was awesome. I wish I still had it. Lost that in a move someday. But yes, you could save on Game Genies. Yes, you could. I remember that. So yeah, it was again. This game is NES long. Like an hour game for a NES game, and a really hard one. That's not bad. But you know.
Yeah, but you need to be good at this game.
Oh, you do. There is no forgiveness. That's the
thing. If you're not good at this game, this could take you forever. Your first time through Ninja Gaiden 1, it can take a very long time.
Oh, 100%. Oh, like in the era, this was months. I tell you right now, I have still not completed Lion King for the Sega Mega Drive. I still haven't. I still to this day without save states.
Not judging.
So yeah, this would last you months, half a year, if you just to get good at it and memorize every location and the hairbreadth. So it's good. In today's
Some
standards,
people say that is value for money.
Exactly,
yes.
It is, and my nostalgia goggles are fully on. This game is great. It's pure 80s.
Thank you for taking us on this trip, Dave.
Oh, I loved it. I'm pretty sure I loved it more than you. But then I am by far.
I would not be surprised, but it was fun having this conversation. Thanks, Dave, and thank you. Pretend I'm pointing at the listener. I'm pointing in real life, but this microphone can't record me pointing.
You should point
Thank
louder.
you.
Yeah, I've already said that about you. You should point louder. You've always got a very quiet.
Well, I'll point louder. Thank you, audience, for listening to this week's episode. Leave a review. That's what I'm going to say. This time, leave a review, not subscribe. Leave a review. Tell the good people on whatever you're listening this on how cool we are.
Nice. Yeah, that's what we need. We need our cool points going up. You're right.
I do. My cool points are going down. My wife's been telling me for weeks.
Yeah, because we're getting older. Cool points just start to decrease as you get older. We need them back, people.
I'm starting to get grey, and I need to get a lot more grey for those greyness to become cool points.
That's right. There's that peak point. So yeah, tell people. Have them talking, review, tell people how great this is.
Do all those things. Dave, where can we follow you?
You could follow me, but we haven't quite scored the game yet.
What do you mean? We
didn't give it as a grade. What did we grade? What did we grade this game, Nick? We skipped the grade. Okay, Nick. What did we give this game in the end?
I just skipped the scoring.
You were too engrossed in my love for everything that.
I thanked everyone. I told them to give us cool points.
You did, but they're just waiting there with bated breath. But what's the score, Nick? What's the score?
Dear listener, our scores. I didn't even. I've not prepared a story.
No, I'm sure you. I feel like you can do one on the fly. You should be inspired by Ninja Gaiden and just.
I'm getting inspired. Our scores were all busy practicing at a dojo. They were practicing their hyas and their hoyas when one day they got attacked by evil ninja assassins. Ken Hayabusa was the dojo master, or the sensei, who defended these little kids who all got away. But unfortunately, the evil ninja assassins struck down Ken Hayabusa. In tears and in blood, he died alone in the dojo. Jeez. Well, he wasn't technically alone because of the ninjas. Anyway, our scores, our rating for Ninja Gaiden 1988 is a B-.
Which is great because it's the same score as like Pragmata and Starfield and Marathon.
Hell yeah. Good game.
I'd love to see a NES game on that board of like the latest games and stuff like that. Oh, it deserves to be there. It is a great game. People should play it. You should try it. You should try some NES games. Go down history lane.
Fair warning, it is a NES game. Don't expect your mind to be blown by this non-NES game because it is a NES game.
I kind of want them to be shocked, like, God, this is how people used to game back then? Ugh. But play it anyway, because history, and history is a good thing. One should look back and see where all their games came from. So yeah, B-. Good game. Well worth it. B-. And now I'm going to speed run through thanking the audience, having a loud point, getting cool points, turning into a silver fox. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Dave, where can we follow you? Well, you can find me out and about, but during my gameplay of this, I actually did find the two statues, the light and the dark one, the one that will release the dark dragon demon. The shadow statue. Yes. So if you do come near me, I do have the dark one, and I do have the white one, and as soon as you come... Is it shadow? Dark, white, shadow? It's the light and shadow statue. Are they really? I just thought it was like... Granted. Big Juju will be released onto the world. Big Dragon will for some reason possess NFL players and weird quadrupedal kids, and the world will fall into chaos all around you just because you decided to find me out and about, and you started Armageddon fundamentally. So if that's what you want to do, by all means, follow me. Dang! No, thank you. I do not want to do that. And you, dear listener, do not want to follow Dave because you don't want to be the reason why Armageddon started, why we are living in an apocalypse. You do not want to be the reason. That's a lot. That's a rather, Dave, what can we look forward to next week? Well, next week, hopefully, if we're lucky, because South Africa sometimes gets the green light, sometimes we don't, we should be able to get our hands on Directive 8020, which is a new game by the company I can't remember. Nick, what's the company called again? I think it's Supermassive, who are famous for doing those narratively based ones, and this one's more of a space kind of horror aspect to the same type of narrative flow. Yeah, Go on.
It's those dark pictures games.
That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
And I think this is essentially quote unquote season 2.
And they're trying to change the format a little bit, right? This is a bit more.
I think so.
Gameplay instead of story-based decisions.
I don't have a lot of answers now. I'm sure next week we'll have a ton more answers.
But we look forward to potentially getting our hands on it. So listen next week to see if it's any good, because we're the most trusted source for games, and if they're any good, because
we really are. That's not a joke.
No, go look on the out on the web right now. Who can you trust? It's only Critical Arcade.
Do it, or rather, don't look. Just trust us.
Yes, just trust us, the strangers on the podcast. Yeah.
We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.